I forgot to undo the microphone. I am so sorry. Please pardon me. I don't. How long was I talking? I was talking for like 2 minutes, right? I'm such an idiot. I do that sometimes. Let me try to remember what I just said. My name is Troy Torres. Welcome to the Troy Torres Show. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Welcome to the Troy Torres Show. It is 7:35 p.m. now on Monday, May 18, 2026. And wait, hold on. Sorry, my team is flipping out because of the audio issue. It wasn't an issue. It was I forgot to press the button. And I do that sometimes. And I always tend to do that during these really important ones. What I was saying when my microphone wasn't on was that there is a lot to unpack with this Cortec. Yeah, I'm so sorry, everyone, about the sound. It was my microphone. You should be able to hear me now. So hold on. Let me just go. Let me just see if I can hear it myself because I'm not. Hold on. Yeah, I can hear it now. So this is what I was saying. I'm saying that there's a lot to unpack, that I'm not even done going through it. But today we encountered publicly available taped recordings of the negotiations that transpired sometime in the summer of 2025 after Cortec International was selected as the company that ranked higher than the other responsive company, GPS, for the development of Simon Sanchez High School. What these recordings show, I'm gonna play you. So I'm gonna play you one of the full meetings tonight because it's more than an hour long. But prior to that, I want to play you excerpts from two different meetings, meeting 1 and meeting 6. And these excerpts, what they'll show you is that number one, this team from the administration knew from the jump, from the very first meeting, that the Cortec proposal price was above the statutory financing limit. They took their knowledge of that. So at that point, according to the RFP, they were supposed to have cut the negotiation. They were supposed to have deemed Cortec non-responsive, right? Instead, what transpires in that first meeting is a plan that's hatched, for lack of a better term, among the parties at the table to get the legislature to lift the financing cap. And in further discussions about it, there's even the mention that campaign donations would need to be made to move things along because it would be cheaper to do so that way. I mean, it's you take with it, you're going to take away what you're going to take away from these recordings, but I'm going to let them speak for themselves. I got to tell you, I have no idea how this is going to weigh on the legislature. The governor has called the legislature into special sessions, throwing them into special session, I believe at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And it is to discuss a bill by then acting Governor Josh Tenorio, which, if the legislature passes it, would circumvent the current procurement process and the current procurement appeal and the rights afforded to the parties because through that appeal process, and essentially allow Cortec to, sorry, the lights, I don't know how to fix the lights, essentially allow Cortec to continue with the development at whatever price the government has already negotiated. The government has not released the price yet. The results of that contractual negotiation, it's all kind of like hush hush because of the protest and the appeal. But whatever that is, the theory is that it's going to cost the people of Guam about $16 million, north of $16 million, almost $17 million a year for the next 30 years. And if you do the math on that, that's just about $500 million. $500 million would be set into motion if the governor's bill, if the lieutenant governor's bill that the governor wants the legislature to pass tomorrow, if it passes, and it would do so under a cloud of extreme suspicion, especially considering what you will be hearing in these recordings. We'll go with meeting one's recording today, the full recording, and then we'll play you more of these in the days to come. But also, after this show, I will be posting the links to all of these recordings onto Kandit's website, www.kanditnews.com, so that you can listen to it on your own free time and come up with your own conclusions or draw your own questions from your listening and your watching of these recordings. Gotta tell you this, not a very good day for the government of Guam. And so we will get to the excerpts first on the other side of this only commercial break. I have to warn you, it's a 4-minute break, but it's the only commercial that will run through this show. Stick with us.
Every day I realize and I know I have enormous responsibility. For me, I wake up knowing that I have a lot of things going on. I don't know what my day is going to be like, but I wake up knowing that I have a big responsibility to do, and I need to do my best every single day. That is what I think about. It's a combination, actually, of two people. My grandpa, this is my mom's dad. His name is Jose Franquez de Colmo. He was an accountant, so not necessarily an exciting job, but gosh, he loved to farm. He was very neat, but he was very patient. I'd never seen somebody so strong and patient than him. He didn't overuse his authority, but you would know when he was upset about something, and nobody would ever mess with that. My dad, he didn't grow up with a dad. My grandpa died right after they got out of Manyangan. And in his neighborhood in Sinahanya, he's like the older brother to many of the other kids that didn't have fathers. Either they died in the war or they left the families. But from him, I learned about hard work and being humble, but also being proud of who you are and being strong. That's the leadership that I emulate, both patient and understanding, but also strong and loving. I have a unique vantage point, at least in politics, because, I was a teenager when I met Ricky Berdalian. I'm one of the few politicians or leaders my age that actually had interactions with him. I used to work for his wife when I was in high school. I worked for Governor Gutierrez. I worked for Robert Underwood. I'm the partner of Governor Liu. So every single leader that the Democrats have pushed forward or who have aspired to be the leader of the Democrats to lead the island, I've had an opportunity to work with them. And it's been excellent to learn from them, to learn from all their life experiences. Well, if that happens, then we accept the decision of the court, and my time and attention will do a little shift. It'll include making sure that I am there to be the father figure for my nephews, to make sure that I'll do my responsibility to being a caregiver to my mom, all at the same time with fighting for and pushing the agenda of the island. And I am up to that. I'm prepared, and I won't be dissuaded in that job. What I would say is that even in your own homes, it is nearly impossible to know and be responsible for the actions of even the closest members of your family that you love and trust. Sometimes your own trust gets betrayed, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to give up or step away from my family members. I trust them that they are going to make the right decisions. And when family members don't make the right decisions, then they have to account for those bad decisions. Doesn't mean that I'm going to love them any less. It just means that perhaps things change in the dynamic of I have three nephews, two from my sister and another one that's real close to me. And I always think about being there for them. You know, that's the inspiration to do the best that I can, because I think that I think they're so talented. I worry about them, and I feel like I need to do the best job I can so that they are going to have the best shot in life to do what they need to do and live a good life.
I'm Josh Tenorio.
And I'm Tina, and we approve this message.
So there are a lot of things that the law prescribes needs to be done for these big procurements, right? And one of them is the maintenance of a procurement record. And part of the procurement record is contract negotiations. And the law says that you need to record contract negotiations, and those need to be posted. And so there are apparently 6 meetings that happened where the Cortec Simon Sanchez High School contract was negotiated between Cortec's representatives and the government of Guam. The government of Guam represented mainly by Governor Luliang Earl's cabinet members. And there were apparently 6 meetings. 5 of those meetings are published online. I've asked the Department of Public Works Director Vince Areola and Deputy Director Linda Ibanez where meeting number 3 is, because meeting number 3 is the one that's not posted. And Linda Ibanez wrote back and said that she is in receipt of my request and that she will investigate and find out and reply to me once she has more information. Now, just to give you a little bit of background, it has been since 2013 that the government of Guam has made various and sundry promises and attempts at rebuilding Simon Sanchez High School. And I don't remember which year the first procurement happened, but that was mired in a protest. Ironically, the protesting company at the time was Cortec International. That wasn't able to move through. I believe the legislature got involved, et cetera, all these years later. In 2020, this administration went out and got an AE firm, TRMA, Taniguchi Ruth Makio Architects. And in 2022, that firm substantially completed the design for the new Simon Sanchez High School. In 2023, the legislature took that design and made a pledge of $16+ million per year in debt service for a school that they capped price at $166 some million principal financing. Then they allowed a negotiation. I'm sorry, they allowed I can't remember the name of the team, but a team that was mainly made up of the governor's political appointees. That's your first question, right? Like, why would you make a team or evaluation committee? It was an evaluation committee made up of mainly the governor's political appointees who decided the type of procurement, decided what was in the RFP, and then did the evaluation, and then did the contract negotiations. And that evaluation team, as I said, they chose to do an RFP rather than a multi-step bid or an IFB. And they chose or they ranked Cortec as the better offerer out of a score system, a rubrics of 100 points maximum. That ranking placed them only 2 points above the next and only responsive offerer, GPS. Price was not a consideration whatsoever in the evaluation. That price proposal from each of those responding offerers was sealed. But according to the RFP, once entering contract negotiations, the evaluation committee was able to unseal Cortec's price proposal, which came in On its face, it says it's at the cap, 166 point something million dollars. But on the term sheet, when you add up all of the different prices for like the A wing of classrooms, the B wing of classrooms, the auditorium, the administration building, all this stuff, right? It adds up to $196 million. Not included, apparently, in this package because it was separately included in a separate contract, was an additional $16 million for the demolition of the current facility, which was already included in the RFP that was and the procurement that was not even supposed to go above $166.7 million, but Cortec bid 100. Alexa, turn on the lights. But Cortec bid 196 million. You add the 16 million, it's a $211 million procurement. Nearly $600 million in financing when you go all in with the principal and the interest over a 30-year period at 8% or 7.5% bond financing interest rate. A lot of money. To put this into perspective, Okudu High School, the principal amount of Okudu High School was more than 1/5 or less than 1/5 of the principal amount of Simon Sanchez High School. Simon Sanchez High School will cost $211 million. Okudu High School cost $40 million. I can't remember what Tizen was, but Tizen was buildings and land, so it's a little different. It wasn't like it's not apples to apples. But I believe JFK was $57 million. And at the time, that was like, wow, we're going to be spending a lot of money for JFK. Simon Sanchez, $211 million, according to the documents in this case related to Cortex prices. Now, not sure if that's what was finally negotiated in the draft contract. And the reason we're not able to see a lot of this stuff is because things went into a protest prior to the final award. And then right before the groundbreaking, and then into a protest appeal once DPW refused to honor GPS's protests. And among the protests, of course, was the statutory cap had been violated. Now, as I was saying, part of the procurement record that needs to be kept is that the meetings where the negotiating team is negotiating with the contractor have to be recorded and need to be published. And so if you go to DPW's website, you're going to find this. And in these recordings, at the very beginning, you find out that the negotiating team already knew that this bid violated the statutory cap, because then they start talking about needing the legislature to lift that cap. So they start planning to lift that cap, and they start discussing ways that they're going to get the legislature to do this. And among those, they discuss campaign donations. Now, earlier today, I emailed all 15 senators, and all but 4 of them replied, and all 11 of them who replied said in no uncertain terms that they, since June of 2025, when Cortec was selected by the evaluation team, through the present, have not had any conversation with Ho Yun, who is the chairman of Cortec, or any Cortec employee or emissary or consultant, about Simon Sanchez High School procurement, and especially about the financing cap. So 11 out of 15 senators said that they have not had this discussion. They did not have any agreement with anyone, Cortec or whatever, to increase the financing cap statutorily. The 4 senators who have not replied to me include Senator Joseph Augustine, Senator Tina Munya Barnes, Senator Sean Gumatautau, and Senator Shelley Calvo. The ones who did reply to me, I can just go through it real quick. Are Speaker Frank Blas, sorry, one second. Vice Speaker Tony Ada, Legislative Secretary Sabrina Salas Matsanani, Senator Jesse Lujan, Senator Chris Duenas. Sorry, I'm opening my email. I have to do the password thing. Senator Vince Borja, Senator Will Parkinson, Senator Chris Barnett, Senator Tello Tidegween, Senator Therese Terlahi, and Senator Sabina Perez, all in one form or another informing our viewers and our readers that they have never spoken to Ho Yin since this period about the SS or anyone at Cortec or any of their emissaries or consultants about SSHS procurement or especially about the lifting of the finance or a proposed lifting of the financing cap. I don't know why the other 4 senators did not reply to me. And it doesn't mean that any of them are guilty of anything. It doesn't mean that they've had any conversations with anyone. It's just, they just have not replied. Let me just put that out there. So I'm going to now play for you excerpts from meeting 1 and meeting 6. And let me stand by. Let me go to, where is that stupid? There we go. Okay, so this is going to be a bit choppy as I do this, okay? But let me fade this out. There we go. So the first thing that we're going to look at is minute 1408 through minute 1417. So I'm not going to get this like, hold on. Son of a gun. Oh, okay, I'm going to start it from 1331, okay? So sometimes it takes just a couple of seconds to load. Sorry. Stand by. I'm trying to reload the whole thing, and now it's not cooperating with me. Oh, this is embarrassing. Hold on. Unless the government took these links down, which would be quite a statement if they did that. Gosh, now this thing is not cooperating with me. Let me try meeting 6. And let me go to 1:30:19. Well, let's just see this. Yeah. Okay, meeting 6 works.
They're mochi
Okay, let me try meeting 1 again. I don't know why meeting 1 is not working. Okay, let me go to meeting 6. It's going to be a little out of sequence, okay? But while we're waiting for meeting 6 to... hold on. Let me just... hold on. Let me try something else. Stand by. Let me go to my editorial team's chat and go get that file one more time. I apologize for... Here, let me go back to me. So you can see my beautiful face while we're doing this. If my editorial team can hear me, can you resend the meeting 1 link so I can reopen the link, because the one that's on right now is not working. And it was just working right before this live show. I tested it out, I promise. Okay, I see the meeting 6 one. The first meeting is the one that has I think I'm getting it in. Okay. I have the docket here. It is not pulling up. Jacob, it's not pulling up from that link. I need the son of a gun. Why is meeting 1 not working now? Okay, meeting 1 is working now. Stand by. Sorry, everyone. How embarrassing. It was working, I swear, right before. Okay, now
Have a seat right there.
Minute
We're doing this strategically.
minute 14, right? Is what it is.
What are all the
Minute
people
14,
doing
oh.
off work at this house?
Is we can come up with a very basic approach of the value engineering aspect. So we know which one can be deleted. We know that. Okay? But I'm going to ask our design team to move forward with everything as is. As is. Within 6 months, and legislature, because they're not stupid, they know. They just didn't know what they did actually. Legislature, usually they don't read their own laws, okay? So we know, right? I know that. So, it's a fancy.
Okay, so that is Ho Yun. That's his voice. And he was telling the committee that the legislature did not know or was unaware of the law that they passed or the authorizations that they made in the law. He says they just didn't know what they did actually, legislature usually they don't read their own laws, okay? So we know, right? I know that. And, the evaluation committee laughing about that. Let me move to minute 1558. We're going to start it at 1530.
We understand what could be downsized or small, whatever. Then we're going to change that. I'm okay with that.
And you could still build it.
Yes.
Because for the government right now, the best interest is get a contract signed, get this project moving. Right.
We can sign tomorrow as long as we understand how we're going to meet $166 million today. As long as 6 months, legislature is not stupid. They just don't read. But they will. I already did my job. And I'm almost certain they're going to remove the cap without much issues.
So, just from this conversation here, so I'm just throwing it out. In theory, you can build a $190 million school
Correct.
for 16.3.
No.
That's
there
right.
are certain. Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, so you heard Ho Yun saying the legislature's not stupid, they just don't read, but I already did my job, and I'm almost certain they're going to remove the cap without much issues. So just from this conversation here, and you heard a male voice after him, it sounds like Vince Ariola, but I'm not entirely sure. The director of public works is Vince Ariola, right? I'm not entirely sure. I do know that he was on the negotiating committee, and that does sound like his voice. And you heard Vince Ariola, or that person that sounds like Vince Ariola, admitting that they, at this point, 16 minutes into the first meeting, knew that the price Cortec had was $190+ million, which was significantly above the statutory cap. And this was even prior to the discussion about the additional $16 million for the demolition. Now, let me move on to another portion of this same meeting where they discuss how it doesn't matter whether you build the school for $90 million or $190 million. Let's go to 1856. Okay, we'll start at 1843.
I'm looking at the validity of the protest, right? So if in terms of money in their pocket, the construction cost has nothing to do with
Correct.
it. Right?
Correct.
It's just the debt service.
Correct. Absolutely. It's a debt
So whether they build us a school for $90 million
correct. It
or
doesn't matter.
190,
It doesn't matter.
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Mr. Hart, I got a question for
Yes.
you.
So what that discussion is has to do with two numbers in the law that deals with number one, a price cap of 166.7 million, and the second is a statutory pledge of debt service of somewhere close to $17 million. And so what they're saying is, it doesn't matter what the price is when you've got an entire pledge of nearly $17 million, and it's what you can get from that. And so it doesn't matter if it's 166 or 190 or 90 or 190. If we're just going to expend the full 17 million that we have authorized, then, it doesn't matter. What, of course, that discussion fails to take into consideration is that a lower price would yield a lower debt service. Anyway, let's go to hour 1 minute 15 and 59 seconds for the next clip. Hour 1:15. There we go. It's just loading. Never mind that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that when we run this entire thing. When we run this in its entirety from the beginning, and I'll do that after I play the next set of clips. And it is from meeting 6, and we're gonna go all the way to 1:30. I'm gonna play you a clip from hour 1 minute 30 seconds 19 all the way to hour 1 minute 35. So it's about 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And I think this might need to load. Hold on. 1:30. Yeah, it's gonna need to load. So while it's doing that, we can just go back to me.
Holding on to.
Oh, there. Sorry, it's doing it. It loaded. Stand by.
Why don't I revise the scope with a base bid, additive item 1, additive item 2. Okay?
Assuming the expectation of those.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So basically, if we get legal guidance that what it is that you're saying is okay, and then the incorporation of that.
Don't go through the AG, please. Because
Of course not.
It's gonna take-
No.
Yeah.
Please.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay. I just think that.
I just want to okay, sorry. I just want to let you know that the voices that you're hearing, that's Ho Yun, and the other voice is Lester Carlson, who is the governor's budget director. We'll go back to this.
Okay.
Could you also give some thought as to how we're going to treat that contribution?
I don't know. I'm a landlord, right? So I'm very familiar with lease payment. To be honest, I know you guys are so, and he's a director of DPW. That's why, of course, he can have a construction perspective. Can you please just zoom out and consider this is basically lease payment. 30 years of lease payment. 30 years of lease period. But you don't have to pay lease period in 30 installments. It could be 32, it could be 10. It's okay. It doesn't really matter. A lot of my tenants, especially Chinese
No, it
tenants,
can't, because unfortunately, that's not the way.
The law said 30, right?
Right, but
Well,
no,
we can go 20. I get it.
This-
You just said max.
It's not really a lease, it's a deferred purchase. So we have to define what the purchase price is, and I'm not clear how the 32
I don't think there is a
million-
purchase price.
I don't think the
there's a
law
purchase
called for that.
Yes, there is,
Yeah.
in here.
I didn't see it.
No.
In other, it's just what they
The
call it.
maths.
When you put it in accounting,
Oh.
because
The way we
we're
value
buying
it
it.
is
For
the
the
way,
end, we're gonna get.
the way we value it is the present value of future minimum lease payments. So it has to have, because we capitalize it here, right? That's what I'm concerned about.
I hold rent to own. That's what you're doing, sir. Rent to own.
Yes, a rental.
Rent to own.
It's a rental.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ong, could
Yes,
you just restate what you are going to?
Yes, please. I'll
Okay.
do that.
Okay,
I'll do that right away.
okay.
And I'll email by replying to the schedule.
Yeah, you
Okay.
give us the change order 1 and 2, and then I already have the first one.
What is it?
No, we're going to seek legal guidance, given the law, as to whether or not
Okay.
we can sign an agreement, knowing that we don't have the 30 years in hand, and
True.
as well, can
True.
we obligate through this agreement years 31 and 32,
Thank you.
as you're suggesting.
Thank you.
And then if we get legal guidance to the affirmative, then the contractual language is what you're going to submit, that this is how we're going to put it in. And then we're just going to have to come to one final conclusion, and that conclusion is, if we never got, say, year 32, what does that do to the project? And
When you mention 32, I'm still confused. Are you talking about next year or 30 years from now?
no, in theory and in
Theory.
in the bill that was passed for 26 budget, there is a provision for $16.3 million.
Yes.
It's not passed yet.
Correct.
So essentially, year 31 will be determined very quickly. But there's no budget
Guarantee.
that's even been submitted for FY27 for the second
There's no
year.
guarantee.
So that's the point we're trying to see, whether or not,
Be
that's
nice. I could be very nice to her.
You're always nice. Let me see.
that's
30
the
years from now, I'll be
question.
90.
That's the question.
See, it's not an expense in the government-wide. I know what you're thinking. There's a lease payment, but in the government-wide statements, it isn't. The
How do you
only,
show
the
it,
only, the only expense is the interest. That's what I'm struggling with.
I see. Understood.
Yeah. No, well,
Can we also be very clear that at year 1 and year 2, or 31 and 32, with regard to, again, construction, right?
Yes.
What exactly are we constructing?
We know that. We already know the scope.
Yeah,
The
no,
TRA.
but there's an addendum of items. The auditorium, there's that list that preceded the,
No, we are committing
No,
100%
it's
at this
not-
point. No.
no?
no.
We are
It needs the
committing-
base bid
Committed to what you had on the letter.
plus 2.
1,000 students, 87 classrooms.
He's not entertaining the auditorium.
Okay,
Which is what we asked, so,
okay.
yeah. You crossed that bridge already.
Something really bad happened, you'll be a lucky one, because we're gonna provide something, collateral equipment, without funding. So we hope. I think I need to donate a lot of money for the campaign, so they will appropriate it next year. That would be cheaper.
That might be true.
That certainly would be cheaper.
That would be cheaper, for sure.
Just remember, they didn't have it in the bill as initially introduced. So yeah, the work was cut out.
I acknowledge that.
It does not, my friends, sound good at all, and this does not look good whatsoever. And you had on these tapes, you have the proof that in the very beginning, the evaluation team knew about the $190-some million offer, which was significantly above the statutory finance cap. Then you heard them talk about ways that they can raise the cap. And Ho Yun provides, he says, I'm not worried. I feel very good that the legislature is going to raise this cap. And then you have a discussion about backloading a final 2 payments in years 31 and 32, which might account for the increase from 166 to 190 whatever. And remember, this was even before the additional 16 million for the demolition. What it came into play about a couple months later after this whole negotiation thing. And so is that how they were going to do it? They were going to back end those final 2 payments to get to the 190 whatever for a financing that the legislature only allowed for 30 years. And you heard them talking about whether it's 2 years or whether it's 32 years, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And then on the discussion of getting the legislature to appropriate the funds in next year's budget, it was maybe I need to donate more money into these campaigns. And you heard the governor's finance people, that was Lester Carlson and Ed Byrne, laughing about that statement. Not a good look. Not a good look whatsoever. And I have to wonder how senators are going to treat the governor's bill tomorrow. Knowing this, and I hope that, I alerted them to these recordings, and I gave a little summary of what they said. I'm going to post these, the 5 of the 6 recordings that are publicly available. I'm going to post them on Kandit, so that you all can review it yourselves. But I want to play for you the entirety of meeting 1, so you have the full context here. And so I'm going to go back to that one screen, and hopefully this thing is not going to give me problems. And let's listen to this together.
Let's see. Yeah. Yes, sit over here. Mr. Holston right there. Yeah.
I'll sit here. Thank you. For my body, this is more than enough. My,
Good to see you, sir.
You know, John.
of course.
Yeah. How's he there? I think we're good, right? Yeah. Okay. You know everybody here? You know Dr. Swanson?
Yes.
You know? Okay. Good.
Yeah, we talk about other projects.
Yes. We're waiting for your blessing.
Yeah. So in the last couple of weeks, especially after the 14-day period, right? We were all blessed. We all had a celebration, and so now it's time to get down to business and build us a school, right? Yeah, we're really excited. Yeah. We wanted this initial meeting. I don't believe we're gonna negotiate in real deep detail.
No problem.
We just want some major understanding of your term sheet here.
Okay.
And we want to let you know some of the issues that we see moving forward. You know, of course we have the law that we have to stay.
Yes.
Right. And I think that's a real big issue for us, as it is with you, right?
Yes.
You know, the law limits us to a construction cost of 166, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although there's a debt service at 16 some, 16.3. But I think at today's rates, we should probably be able to get a better principal.
Better
Right?
principle.
Better principal.
Yes.
The problem is you can't go better principal because the construction cost is down here.
That's
So I don't know how, you know, that's what I want to talk to you about. How
Okay.
do we go through that? So when you gave us your term sheet, and I think you might have the copy should be in there right there. Yeah. Maybe we could just start with that.
Okay.
And just give us your explanation of what, because the way we read this, right? Okay, so you have all the different construction costs under project scope, right?
Yes.
Then it totaled like 195, and a good majority of these they were shown as, what's the term I'm looking for here, Joe? Not a value engineering at the end of, right? Yeah. And so, so now with and then you lessed it to come up with the 166, 365, right?
Right.
Okay. Now there's two ways the way we kind of interpreted it. One is we can take from here, right?
Yes.
And bring it down to 166.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying here?
Actually, let's relax.
Okay.
After your kind letter that we are first one to negotiate, so I met and have some casual conversation, informal conversation with some of the senators, and I explained that you guys put 3 cap, which is 8.5% interest cap, construction amount $166 million, and $16.3 million annual payment. But I explained to them, very simple. The government is going to be a tenant for 30 years. Government should pay attention to the rent amount per year, how much? 16 point. And that's a lot. We're good. But I don't understand why you don't want the homeowner or house renter to spend, no, renter means the person who's going to actually, the landlord in this case.
Okay.
Why you don't want them to spend more money? The more they spend, you receive the benefit. Because your rent amount is fixed. Whether they're going to spend $100,000 or $100 million, the more the merrier for you. Anyway, it has nothing to do with you. You just pay only $16.3 million. And then senators, they fully understood. Yeah, that's not our issue. I even talked to government, and the governor said, okay, I understand they usually put a cap, but government standpoint, as long as it doesn't go beyond $16.3 million, they have no issue. So the way I present, absolutely, we can go through all the details and come up with value engineering. There are certain items that I don't even agree. It was designed through the COVID time. Hallway is too wide.
Right.
Ceiling height is too much. Classroom is a 960 square foot, but you know the standard is around 750 square foot. Is it really necessary? At that time, because of 6 feet apart, it made sense. But are we really going to the COVID design? So a lot of things that we can talk about that. But nonetheless, we can build everything as per current design at $16.3 million. As long as the legislature can remove unnecessary debt ceiling amount, $166 million.
So construction.
Within 6 months. Within 6 months. Because, as I committed, I'm not going to wait for hiring designer, several $1 million, and clearing or even demolition. I'm not going to wait. Once you give me a go signal, even verbal, I'm going to start. And then 6 months, because we have to get a plan done, permit done. I know you can sign the building permit without agency's clearance. Usually it takes around 5-6 months. The design is going to take minimum 3 months. If we don't get a building permit, bond people, they don't buy the bond. They don't invest. So we must have a building permit. So it's going to take about 5-6 months. But I'm not going to stop. We're going to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So I will use my money for 6 months, including design, which is just several $1 million. And then as long as you can convince legislature, which I will help also, I'll do my part. As long as they remove the cap, we have zero issue. We don't have to go through the value engineering. I'm not saying value engineering is not a good thing. It's up to you folks. You can add, you can delete, you can even ask something even different. We're okay. But as long as legislature can remove that unnecessary language, because it doesn't affect government anyway, within 6 months, from July to December,
Okay.
then we don't have any issue.
Okay. We've been talking about that same thing, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Because when we looked at it, even in our evaluation team, we just said, man, as long as he's got the annual debt service, who cares what it
Who
is?
cares? Yeah. The
Right?
more I spend, the more the benefit that actually the Simon Sanchez, the stakeholders will receive.
Yeah. But one of the things we were looking at, Mr. Ho, is the what if we go to the legislature and we change and we ask them to, or even let's just say they either change, up it, or delete it. Would that cause any of the other previous two proposers to come and file some late protest or something, because we literally changed the rules of the game, if you will?
I will listen to him. He knows better than I.
I appreciate how your mind thinks, Mr. Ho. You're very sophisticated. I would think, and just if, let's say the JFK folks had won, right? And we were negotiating with them. And you saw a bill at the legislature that changes the Makahat Act to raise the construction ceiling. I would think you would protest.
Honestly, no.
Okay.
Because I'm a bidder. I don't care about construction cost. I only care about my payment. How much am I going to receive? Because it matters to me. Nothing matters other than that. So as long as we don't change the $16.3 million, and then we submit the bid based upon $166 million, which is very responsive. To be honest, this is confidential from my source. Out of 3 bidders, we are the only one who submitted performance guarantee bond form. That's what I heard from our surety. Technically, practically, the other 2 bidders are non-responsive bidders. They should disqualify from the beginning. From the beginning. Because it was a requirement. The 3 bids, right?
Yeah.
Responsive, responsible,
Right.
and then price.
Right.
So we meet the price, and we only submit, nobody else. The surety doesn't believe that they have a capacity for the financing and development and construction. Yes, they can get performance and payment guarantee bond for the construction. I know that. Smith Bridge, I'm not sure. I don't know whether their bond can handle up to $200 million. I don't think so.
Yeah.
So, but the other bidder from the state side, it's a Korean guy.
Yeah.
We know him quite well. They can get a bond. I know that. But they didn't get any performance guarantee form approved by surety. So they should disqualify from the beginning. Yeah. And also, I know that we didn't add a developer's fee, which means completely different. The Kappa team, and they know what they're doing, and then they brought another team, Smith Bridge. So there are 2 layers. The other company, 3 layers. Bond people, financing people, prime contractor who doesn't do construction, but they do have a bond program. But they also have a local contractor who's very small. 3 layers. Impossible for them to meet our pricing. We're doing 40% of the bond construction, which means our price is very low. Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
We just won $297 million project today. Last week we won 240. Yeah, and then within a week we won $250 million.
244 million.
That's the whole
homes.
scope. I'm
And
talking
then
about,
after that, 295 million commando center.
and the 297 today.
Yes.
So we're winning a lot of projects because our price is the lowest. We call LPTA, lowest price, you're expert.
Yeah. Can I throw a scenario at you?
Yes.
Okay, let's say the current law, as I interpret it, right, has 166 million cap, all inclusive of financing, FF&E, and construction.
Yes, but not including additional rents such as insurance and maintenance.
Okay, so let's say that's all inclusive in the 166 million, right? I'm the director of public works. This has been a 15-year project riddled with delays. You know this, right?
Yes.
Right? You want to move the project forward, right? There's no guarantee with the legislature, right? What is the win-win to get the project going?
Let's start with 166 as is. We can come up with a very basic approach of the value engineering aspect. So we know which one can be deleted. We know that. Okay? But I'm going to ask our design team to move forward with everything as is. As is. Within 6 months, and legislature, because they're not stupid, they know. They just didn't know what they did actually. Legislature usually they don't read their own laws. Okay, so we know that, right? I know that. So it's a fancy number. They put a cap. Okay, it's good, but in reality, it's not relevant. So
For a lease back.
For lease back, because you're a renter.
Okay.
Yeah. So who cares, right? So as long as within 6 months there is a amendment, a modification, or change order, whatever you name it, I'm good. So we can move forward as of today.
Okay, so let me just throw you a scenario for your own risk, right?
I'm taking a risk.
Okay, so 166.
I married them.
Okay.
Which means I took a huge risk.
Mr. Ho, 166 million, right?
Yes.
All financing costs included. That's the current law, right?
Oh, $166 million is the construction amount.
Ceiling.
Construction amount.
Okay.
Yeah, not exactly bond fee 1.5%. It's not included.
Okay, so let's say everything's all included, or let's say that's what the administration wants. Everything in 166. Everything, right? Let's say we're entering a gubernatorial season. You know how that looks, right? What if this doesn't pass? What are you going to do if the law doesn't pass?
Then I'm okay.
You're
As
okay.
long as we understand what could be downsized or small, whatever, then we're going to change that. I'm okay with that.
And you could still build it.
Yes.
Because for the government right now, the best interest is get a contract signed, get this project
Yes.
moving, right?
We can sign tomorrow as long as we understand how we're going to meet $166 million today. As long as 6 months, legislature is not stupid. They just don't read, but they will. I already did my job, and I'm almost certain they're going to remove the cap without much issues.
So, just from this conversation here, so I'm just throwing it out. In theory, you could build a $190 million school
Correct.
for 16.3.
No.
That's
There are
right.
certain. Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Right?
Confirm.
So
I talked to Tony. I talked to Torres. They're okay.
Yeah.
They're okay.
All you do is remove the cost of construction.
Construction.
Yeah.
All you do is amend that out, right? Strike it.
Because, like you said,
Yeah.
we're just leasing it.
Yeah, we're just leasing. We're tenants. And then if the landlord spend more money, that's my
That's
benefit.
good on us.
Yeah.
We get a bigger asset.
Exactly. Because 30 years later, you're going to own it.
Did the budget bill pass that?
No, that's right.
Maybe it could be.
See, and we were talking about that.
Yeah, right.
Maybe a rider in
Yeah.
the bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
just
in
for
the
government.
miscellaneous section, there's always a surprise in there.
Rider.
But again, think about the government's risk and your risk, right? If it doesn't pass,
It's okay.
you're okay.
I'm okay.
The school's gonna
Then
get-
all we get is
I'm okay.
$166 million school.
Correct. We're
That's all
going to
we
reduce
get.
this. We're going to reduce this. Modify a little bit. I'm okay.
But where I come from in terms of negotiating, there's a difference between a $190 million school and 16.3 debt
Some
service
compromise.
versus 166 and the same debt service.
Correct.
You understand where I'm coming
Absolutely.
from, right?
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, every year I still have to give you the same amount, but I prefer to get the 190 million
Correct.
school
Absolutely.
versus 160.
Because they deserve for a long time. So
Sure, yeah.
might as well just give to them. But I will let you decide. We can present item by item. And you know what? No, let's just keep it. No, we don't need that fancy stuff. We're gonna remove that. Regardless.
Yeah, there's some fancy stuff here we don't need.
Yeah. So I will let you decide. We can only present. You choose.
Yeah.
Because just consider that $166 million construction ceiling will be removed by legislature. Let's just suppose that way. And then based upon that, even though we have enough money, do we really want to spend money for this item or that item? That's your call. We're okay. We're contracted.
Because and Joe, I'm just trying to look at the other side, right? Because we're kind of taking what if the other two do a protest, but I'm looking at the validity of the protest, right? So if in terms of money in their pocket, the construction cost has nothing to do with it.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
It's just the debt service.
Correct. Absolutely. It's a debt
So whether they build us a school for $90 million,
correct. It
or
doesn't
190,
matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Mr. Hart, I got a question for
Yes.
you. Let me think a little bit more about it. Can you build a school right now for $166 million with all financing included for 2,000 students if we had to move forward?
Certain things we need to compromise. For example, I didn't really we didn't include. So as of today, 960 square foot is that necessary? The
per classroom
size
versus
750. That will probably save us around $7 million or minus, somewhere around there. Do we really want to spend $7 million as per current drawing?
Well, if you had to value engineer it to comply with all the laws, occupancy laws, right?
Absolutely.
You could build a school for 2,000 kids, hundreds within the 160, all financing it included, closing everything. That's the most important part, I think, because
So there are some, you know that the famous ROTC, right? So we can remove that. Certain things we can talk about. Many things we can do that, and we want to present one by one. So it's solely up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, we will only present what can be taken out. So just one example: classroom, 750 square foot. That's a standard.
That's a standard.
Yeah. Most of the schools here in Guam is a 750 square foot. We build how many schools, right? So we know. We know the requirement. So that's a $7 million. That's just one item. We don't damage anybody.
So less 150 square feet, right?
160 square foot. 960. Yeah, 960. Oh no, 210, right? 210 square foot. 960 minus 750, 210 square.
That's about half this room.
This is about 200. This is about 200.
That's what I'm saying. Half of this. Yeah. Like if you go 8 by 20, that's 160 square feet. So about from right here to there, that's how much they're going to lose.
Yeah. But that's a standard. We're not compromising. We're meeting the federal standard, DOE standard.
Yeah.
So at that time, I really regret that there's no developer who didn't orchestrate it and then controls and pros and cons. It was all stakeholders' wish list, and everybody.
That's correct.
Which is fine, but there's a money part of it. But at that time, they didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about it.
See, and that's, but where I stand from. Granted, he's my customer, right? DOE's my customer.
Yes.
I got to build them a school.
Yes.
But from where I come from, I have to be as diligent as possible in spending the government's money.
Right.
Because I have to sign the contract. So does he. So does the governor, and who knows all those other people that have to sign. So, this is not our money. We've got to account for that. So we got to be as efficient as possible.
Yes.
So and we've had talks already in the evaluation team. Dr. Swanson's on the evaluation team. You saw the principal.
Yes.
Principal Carla is on it. And we've just come straight up. You might not be. You need to be prepared to not get everything. Because as we were just talking earlier, right? I think as you just mentioned, I think the part of the fallacy here was DOE 6-7 years ago went out and said, let's go design a school and we'll give it to somebody and say, build this for us. Not thinking Number one, we don't have the money for it.
Even if we have money, do
Right.
we really want to use that money for that purpose? I don't know.
Yeah.
So
How about on the just to move a little bit to the side?
yes,
How about on the financing portion?
yes,
Now you brought in your own finances.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay.
What's
Very, very
what's your
simple.
plan?
I understand that Gita had some kind of roadshow and they had some thought process. They want to have their own, which is fine. But there are two issues. The law is very clear. Law is very clear. It's a design, build, finance, insurance, and maintenance, which means contractor or developer shall bring municipal lease financing, which will be outside of the government debt ceiling. You are very familiar. So, if Gita is going to be involved, first of all, let's be honest. Can Gita sell the bond based upon Guam law? It's not clear. They may need to go back to the legislature and then they have to get an authorization to sell the bond. It's not clear. Because the current law is developer has to bring the financier.
If the developer's financing will be used, if it's a better
No,
something.
I'm talking
Did I
about
read
the
that?
front part. It has to be municipal lease financing. If somebody's going to bring very alternative, creative financing, then I can do that, but I'm not going to do that. I know I can do that because we are CDFI. We are the only actually active CDFI, Community Development Financial Institution. We have a designation from U.S. Treasury, so we receive new market tax credit, which we can sell and then get a cash, exactly the way I did Halford Island Charter School. I can do that, but if I do that, we have to go back to the legislature and get an approval again. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
We don't have time.
Yeah.
Let me explain why I want to rush it. Construction takes time. So if you can sign the contract today, for example, I will have more time for the construction. So the time is a very important matter for us because I want to finish the project as early as possible.
Sure.
So even though we do have a CDFI, there are 60 billion program and a new market tax credit, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just go straight to the New York and then we're going to do the roadshow. We're going to sell the bond. We're going to get a cash in the bank. We're going to fund the project. It's going to take 6 months. Not because financing can take only 2 months. I think you know that. Usually three months. But if you push the underwriter, they can sell the bond in 2 months because they're familiar. But if we don't have a building permit, nobody is going to buy the bond. Nobody is going to take the construction risk. Any development project, 95% risk comes from the construction, and a big chunk from the permit. The bond investor, they will never buy that kind of risk. So we gotta have a building permit in place.
Mr. Ho, if the government of Guam wants to use its financiers,
Mhm.
are you good with that?
Not happy.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm not really sure that is legal. First of all, it can be challenging.
Based on what again?
Based on current law.
Yeah.
Let's read the law together. I didn't bring the law.
Yeah. So it says on the financing part. Is that,
Yes.
To minimize the cost of the government of Guam, financing utilized by the contractor to
Yes.
fund the construction, blah 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 blah,
Not by Gita.
shall be through tax exempt obligations or other
That's
financial.
exactly what I'm gonna do. That's exactly what I'm gonna do.
It goes further though. The contractor may use an alternative method.
I'm not gonna do it.
So you're not going to do that
Because
right?
if you do that, we have to go back to the legislation.
If such financing will better serve the. So if you don't do this,
Then we don't need any new law.
see, but this is all one sentence, right? If the contractor may use an alternative method, which you already said you're not going to use any alternative method, if such method or financing will better serve the needs of the people of Guam, meaning it's a better deal than GIDA. That's
Yes.
the way I read it, right?
No, not it's a matter. GIDA is not in the picture from the beginning. GIDA is not in the picture from the beginning. So let's just read together. To minimize the cost to the government of Guam, financing utilized by the contractor for the construction and FF&E service for New Simon Sanchez shall be through tax-exempt obligation. So we are meeting. In other words, we are responsive. We are meeting the RFP. We're meeting the public law, and or other financial instrument, provided such financing is available at interest rate of no more than, which is fine. We're doing.
You got that?
Yeah, about 6+%. However, here, contractor may use an alternative method of financing, including but not limited to short-term debt, mortgage loan, federally guaranteed loan, loan by instrumentality of United States of America, if such financing would better serve the needs for the people of Guam, subject to approval of the legislature. So you have to go back to the legislature.
Okay.
I'm not going to do that. We are going to be stuck at the mercy of the legislature. I'm not going to play that game.
So you want to play sentence 1?
Oh, yeah. If we do that, we are responsive. We are in compliance of the law. But if GIDA is going to come into the play,
That's why he says it's not GIDA, because it says the contractor
if GIDA comes into play, you know, Joe used to be a long time the chief of staff, okay? So he's the one who basically working on all those tax refund bond, okay? I got the big check. So we all owe him. So you know that GIDA cannot sell the bond unless legislature approves that. There's no approval at this moment. Somebody can push the button. I understand that. But is that legal? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is that second option, the operative word is may, not shall.
Sure,
Yeah.
correct.
So it's a choice.
But it's only if he uses the alternative method.
I can, but I'm not going to do
You know.
that.
That's what I said. So you're only on sentence 1.
Exactly.
You can delete all this stuff.
Correct.
And the principal amount of financing shall not exceed.
Correct. Yes. So it will make it clean and simple in compliance and responsive. Because I have to be responsive bidder.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go away, I can still be responsive as long as I can bring the better financing, but we are all at the mercy of the legislature. And it's going to take time. Minimum 3 months. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do that, I can. If I'm going to do that, I will not fund any project. I'm not going to use Cortec Capital to fund the project for 6 months. There's too much risk.
I think on the GIDA side, GIDA's looking at their enabling legislation, right?
Mm-hmm.
That says any type of bond issue for use here in Guam has to be run through GIDA.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where they're coming from.
Overall.
Yeah.
But even they said that Guam, GIDA can only do that if there is a specific legislation. So I don't think that actually they are correct. But I understand they went through some solicitation, they had some presentation by, Morgan Stanley. And I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But contractually, this is the public law. It has to be contractor who provide the financing.
Would there be are there any other caveats with regard to your bond issue, such as additional debt service or trust? No, everything falls on you.
Everything is on me, and then frankly speaking, one of the reasons that you want to use a contractor or developer's financing because you don't have to worry about the government debt ceiling.
Yeah.
I understand that another company's appraisal company is doing all the appraisal for Guam. We get that, so let her do that. But the reason why we use a PPP, first of all, government is government. Government is not a contractor. Government is not a cleaner. They're not a janitor. So let these guys handle their own expertise. So utilize subject matter experts. So that's why we are hired them to serve the government. And if it shouldn't, in case the government cannot budget the payment, it is what it is. The bond investor has to swallow that risk. We call essentiality risk. they have to swallow.
Mhm.
So that's why government of Guam will be free from government debt ceiling issue. Now you're gonna use GIDA. I don't know. Do you really wanna do that? And to be honest, now this is just my own. So whatever I explain is a fact, but this part is not fact. It's just my concern. If I use my underwriter, for example, Barclays or RBC or anybody, in this case we teamed up with Barclays, I can squeeze their neck to sell the bond at the lowest interest possible. That's my benefit. I have skin in the game. And they know that.
Yeah.
But if GIDA is going to do that, who cares? Why do they care?
So do you feel you could get a better interest rate?
Absolutely.
Not just interest rate,
Yeah.
closing costs,
Absolutely.
printing costs. I've seen some costs
Thank you.
for bond issue.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just insane, really.
Yeah.
Printing costs at 5 figures. That's crazy. Yeah.
But we have a machine gun because we have a long-lasting relationship. They know that they are going to have a relationship with me, so they have to be extremely sensitive and responsive.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to end up using Morgan Stanley,
Mm-hmm.
how many times do they really sell bonds? Thank you. Thank you. So, why do they care? Why do they care?
Thanks, John. And then on the maintenance side, the maintenance fund is separate from
Yes.
from,
That's the law.
from
That's
debt
the law.
service.
Yes, that's the law. So, which we prepare certain things.
I think you showed like $3 million
Yes.
or something.
Yes, actually it's a choice. Okay, so I prepare actually a letter to John. So one set, and second set.
Is that you?
Nice. Nice
Wow,
to meet you.
That's a hell of a speaker.
Yeah.
So. Thank you. Okay. So, part 1A, 166,365.
We talked about that.
We already talked about it.
Okay.
And then B item, the
Okay.
public law and RFI process, there is a little bit of a glitch, there is a little bit of conflict. But public law will prevail. Law will prevail. So law is very specific. So law says that in the public law, insurance and maintenance, we call additional rent, will be not part of the base rent. So if you see the public law, section 58D 111, maintenance fund, the contractor and leaseback shall provide that all maintenance of New Simon Sanchez will be performed by the contractor as a separate cost. Separate cost from base rent, which is the mortgage payment, terms and basically principal and interest. So that's standard for the industry. That's
This
exactly
is what's going on today.
that currently
This
is
is what's
going on
going
with
on
all
today.
the schools,
Right.
and that's the intent of the law, which is possible. I mean, which is commonsensical. So,
So then when we responded,
accidentally,
we said no.
now I'm okay. Do what you need to do, but additional rent has to be outside of the base rent. That's the standard. So,
Yeah, I think we're in agreement with that, no? No, Joe?
Yeah.
Thank you. So that said, now part 2, insurance maintenance. I elaborate a little bit more. Regular insurance is about less than $500,000. Typhoon insurance is $1.6 million because of the war, ongoing war, and because of Typhoon Mawar. It's extremely high. I'm gonna be very honest. If you want to keep typhoon insurance, I will like it because I will be the insurance carrier. I know that I'm gonna make money, but I don't want to make money that way. So if government still, you know what, I understand, but you know what, public, all these things, we don't want to get into trouble later on. We want you to provide the typhoon policy. I can provide the typhoon policy. I can. But most of the insurance companies, they are very reluctant. They don't want to provide a typhoon policy. Extremely hard.
Is it just because of it's a government building or?
No.
No.
Even Dusitani, even all of our buildings.
We saw all of those. Yeah.
I actually work with many insurance company, many reinsurance company. We share the risk. That's why I'm able to, full disclosure, confidential. 2024, confidential. I didn't have any insurance for Dusitani and Dusit Beach. First Line Bank knew about it. They know, but they cannot ask because they understand the true market. So they are very happy. We work with about 8-9 insurance companies, and we are able to provide insurance for Dusitani and Dusit Beach. Extremely happy. Very hard to get insurance nowadays. It's not about the premium issue. They just don't want to take the risk. Ongoing war, and then Typhoon Mara.
Ongoing
war. Ukraine war.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Dongbu made a lot of money here for a long time with the Moylands, and they went to Hawaii, successful. They went to LA, extremely successful. Now they have a fire. They lost basically 10 plus years of the profit. So they don't want to take on risk. That's not their business.
They need to regroup, huh?
They have to.
They have to regroup and build up their
cash.
Their cash and
That's why it's not about insurance premium or rate. They just don't want it. That's
so
why.
What do we do then? What does the government do?
Cannot.
Yikes.
Cannot. That's why this is off the record. Okay.
Yeah.
First Line Bank knew that I didn't have insurance for a whole year, but they couldn't complain.
So if I'm building a house and I know I'm not going to be able to get insurance, and you're my contractor, I'm gonna require you to make it as typhoon proof as possible. Leaks, certain kind of windows, right?
Yeah,
Shutters.
absolutely.
I mean,
we would do that, but we cannot protect the windows from flying object.
Yeah.
Well, it can be done.
We can put a typhoon shutters.
Well, no, I mean the Anderson schools will take a 200-mile-an-hour coconut because the windows, the double laminate, they're explosion, car bomb, and nuclear attack proof. I was in that project from the get-go, but it was quite a deal to make workable windows that would take that kind of damage.
Sometimes the glass is strong. Window itself, frame itself can be pushed.
That was the challenge. Was the frames.
And it also depends what hits it.
Yes.
Because I've seen windows.
Yeah.
I mean, a baseball bat won't hit it.
Yeah.
But all you get is just a little
sharp
thing. It's like a gun.
Yeah, it's gone.
That's why they invent those window safety things.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So this is an option.
Wow.
This is an option. So please consider, and I'll follow your direction, your decision. I'm good. I can provide insurance because we are going to use the Cortec Capital. The Cortec Captive Insurance. I can provide. So, next item, value engineering. So, we came up with a certain items, number of classroom, and then technically permit fee. You're gonna pay me, but you're gonna collect. Why do you want to do that? So it's one option. You can save $700 some $1,000 permit fee and review fees. I know you're not gonna like it as a DPW director, but as a government standpoint, maybe okay. So rainwater catchment system 1.7, photovoltaic system. Do you really want to do that? 460. The pole and track and field almost $1 million. FF&E, can we recycle some of the old existing schools furnitures, and HVAC roof enclosure. And of course, I want to build roof enclosure. It's better. But if you want to save some money, that's $250,000.
Or we can change the type of the enclosure from
Yes.
CNU to a chain type or something like
Yes, yes. There are certain
Yes.
options. Auditorium, of course, everybody loves auditorium, but that's a 10 million ticket. So
Well, you can scale down what's in it and save quite a bit of money.
yes, yes, yes. We are very fast. We're very fast to give you. If you ask, can we do this? We'll get your number right away. So we can finalize this. I need the time. I want to finish it. To be honest, I want to
Sure.
finish this
I
project.
know, you want to finish it in like June of 2027, right? Not August.
I want to finish it.
Yes, I know, we understand.
I'm just going to think out
Yes,
loud, right?
yes.
So talk to the financing people. This brings it down to 166 million if you chop all this, right? If the financing costs to the government, if they think that they need another 15 million, can you bring it down?
Absolutely.
More? You can. Okay,
Yeah,
just want to
absolutely.
make sure.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Talking to the finance guys, right?
Yeah.
They're saying there's going to be financing costs associated. This brings the construction down to 166, but doesn't it absorb the financing costs, right? So, okay, so Mr. Ho, I just want to understand what you're thinking right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking about getting the project through, right? I think that's in everyone's best interest.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
As it exists, we have a law that caps everything.
Correct.
And I believe the finance folks, their interpretation is that the 166 must include any financing costs in there as well. Okay, that's, I believe their interpretation. I don't want to misspeak. From what I heard earlier from the colleague is that you can absolutely build a school within the framework of the 166 for 2,000 students. And I'm seeing that here now, right? But ideally, if you want to build the school that Simon Sanchez wants, there
That's
just needs to
fine.
be a simple amendment, possibly in the Budget Act as
Right.
a writer, right?
Right.
But in order to move this forward expeditiously, we need to get into some form of agreement, into a contract,
Yes.
that where you're building the school
You can move.
for
Correct.
166 with
Correct.
all, and
That's
then,
why we prepare this way. Yes. Because we need to stop. Because as a contractor, time is the most critical one. It's the most important factor.
Well, to us too,
Yeah.
because we see it too. I wait 3 months, I wait 6 months, and the contractor is saying that quote is not good anymore,
Correct.
right?
Technically true.
Because you
I'm
know,
not going to do that. I'm
you
not
know
gonna
the
do
price
that.
of supplies
It changed.
more than anybody else here.
So I'm okay to stop. So if you want me to go through the real details, let's go through certain items and let's make it below $166 million, and we start and sign the contract. And we do have a potential modification if legislature approve the, omitting the language. I'm okay.
So if the legislature removes that 166,
Then we can do many different things.
then we throw these back in? Or is that what we're looking at?
Yes, correct. Because my job, I'm gonna ask our design team as if everything is part of the contract. And worst case, because anyway, design will not be done.
Yeah.
Design will take minimum 3 months.
Yeah.
Actually, probably looking at 4 months because they're gonna phase it: clearing permit, demolition permit, and then building permit for the entire. So it's gonna take time. So let's say 4 months. In the 4 months, we know the tendency. You know what's gonna happen. But I'm okay that they spend that much energy. Yet, still legislature is reluctant to remove that 166 million unnecessary cap. All I have to do, this item, not in contract. That's all we need to do. Because we already have agreement in place.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be basic contract. Basic contract, we know what to do. Worst case, below $166 million.
okay, so let's say the legislature doesn't approve it, right? For whatever reason, politics or whatever, right?
Which is fine with me.
When this school's built with the smaller, with the value engineering and whatnot, is this going to be a school we're all proud of?
I think so.
And that
I think so.
DOE is going to be happy with?
I think so. I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to make you guys cry. If I'm a developer, if this contract was design build, this is not a really truly design build, right? It's almost all the basic design concepts are already in
We're
place.
throwing you the design. Yeah.
So we're gonna basically carry the ball and then move on, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna start the design from the scratch, I can make the score lesser than $166 million for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But you know, he's a writer, okay?
How do you know all this stuff?
So if you're gonna write the essay by yourself, maybe you can finish in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But if I give you my write-up and ask you to edit, it's gonna take 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Or 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
So the same thing is happening here.
Okay.
So we are kind of somewhat handcuffed. Yeah. Even though there are certain things I really don't.
You have flexibility though. There's a programming document now, right?
Yes,
The-
yes,
the,
you do.
The TRMA design is the basis. Of
Yes,
that, right?
yes.
And,
But every time I need to get your consent and approval. That's the right thing to do.
yeah, yeah.
That's why we are here with a certain items. So if you give me a time, maybe in a couple of days, I can send you an email. We will build the school, something that we can be proud of. $166 million cab, bond fee, underwriter fee. It's not be part of $166 million because it's 1%. It's not a small amount. It's a couple of $1 million, right? We can possibly submit our version of understanding or rather recommendation. Let's start with this approach. And 6 months, if we all fail with the legislature, then we're gonna basically
Square one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
remove certain things and we're gonna build still a school that we can be proud of.
Yeah, I just want to make sure the worst case scenario is still acceptable to
Yes, yeah, it'll be okay.
Okay.
It'll be okay. It'll be okay. But basically, we're not just giving what they wish for the long time. All the wish listing that they put it into the design. Yeah. I don't agree. I don't agree 960 square foot. I don't agree with the ceiling height. I don't agree with the hallway. I don't. Yeah. I don't. So, but if you build that way, some people can actually criticize. Why do you do that? If your space is tall and wide, you need to spend a lot of power bill for the air conditioner.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want to do that? What's the purpose?
Yeah. And even just maintenance.
Yeah, maintenance, you have to clean a lot.
One of the things
Yes.
we, in all our discussions, one of the things I always bring up is thank God for last year when we had that sort thing where the governor sent us out there to get schools ready. I personally saw Okadu, and I personally saw Southern High. Southern High was a jewel.
Yeah,
It was a jewel. Too much.
Yeah, too much.
Too much. You've seen it, my friend.
It's my nightmare to keep it open.
I did Southern High back in '99 with Carl Gutierrez when we had the SPG, the South Pacific Games.
Yeah.
We got that school back, and the pool was blue. The tennis courts are ready.
Beautiful.
Look at it now.
Yeah. So we wish that we can just lift it up and then move it to Simon Sanchez's location. But it's not practical.
Yeah.
So, Joe, actually, I understand. We're not going to compromise too much that we're not going to be proud of. That's not the concern. It's just too much. But make it simple. Give us 2 days. Today is what? Wednesday, right? So maybe no later than Monday morning, you will receive our version of recommendation to meet this savings. So if legislature, decline our offer, which is a reasonable offer, then let's build a school that way.
Yeah.
However, can we agree today, Doc, are you okay with a 750 square foot classroom?
Yeah, certainly no less than that. 'Cause, I mean, that's a pretty standard.
That's the standard.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
the
really, if you look at let's call it a 30 by 30.
Yes.
Out of a 30 by 30, you're going to lose this much. So you would lose maybe 2 feet on every side, 3 feet.
But in
Smaller.
reality,
you won't
there
even
are
notice it.
There are only 25, 26 people maximum.
Yeah.
That's the maximum.
28,
per
they
classroom.
said by law.
By the law. Okay.
Yeah, 28. But even that, I mean,
'Cause I-
so you know, 30 by 30 would be, what is it, 28 by 28?
see, I'm
Who's got the
looking-
calculator?
I'm looking at it. For planning purposes, I use
Square root of
20 by
750.
20 by 20.
So 800 square feet.
I see.
And
32
you can
by
pretty much
24.
do anything that you
Yeah.
need to do in there.
750.
Now,
Perfect.
that's for general purpose classrooms. When you get into science lab and those kind of.
Oh no, that's a different story.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a different story. We're talking about just regular classroom,
General class.
general classroom.
And I'm sorry, how many classrooms? Because
I think probably about,
Overall, including the special classroom, is 115.
but
But
general,
if general, it's gonna be
about 101?
less than 100.
oh, absolutely less than 100.
Yeah. So
Probably
about,
less than 80.
about
Yes.
80 plus, 80 minus. So we're only talking about the level. What about hallway? Can we just standardize it? Can we just follow federal guideline?
What are the dimensions right now? Because even that I heard that
The current design.
before we even went to RFP.
Gigantic.
I heard gigantic. Yeah.
The current design is wider than 17 feet, the hallway. That's
Wider
a
than
clear
what?
17.
Yeah.
That's from, the lockers and the locker. So if include the locker, it's gonna be wider than 17 feet.
But the clearance is 17 feet.
That's right.
So we can actually make it shorter, much shorter.
But based on the DOD standard, probably they start from the 12 high school, absolutely based on the high school, 12 to 14 or 15. I can't recall exactly, but less than
What do
current
they got
design.
now? 20 foot?
So technically around 20 foot, but you have to remove the depth of the closet
Yes.
or whatever. So
And then the other thing is the ceiling. I heard the ceilings are pretty high. With this?
well, I mean the classroom can be a little bit taller than this, but what I'm asking, we're not trying to compromise it. We just want to meet the standard. This is outside of standard, outside of norm. Can we just design normally? It's a COVID design. It's a COVID design. It was acceptable at the
Right,
time.
right, yeah.
So if you agree, we're gonna basically reduce that, which means if in case legislature remove the cap, we would have a lot of savings. Which means you can use that money for other purposes. Well, I don't have any idea. So you want to use the money for the width and height, or you want to use money for other purposes. In other words, you will have a flexibility because we can float a bond based upon legislature's guideline.
I think I'm hedging my bets, knowing just in my conversations with the principal, with a couple of vice principals, and with a couple of teachers, I would hedge my bets. They'll definitely go for the smaller class. I think the teachers just want their own classroom, and even that, personally, I'm against because I know that not all the teachers are going to always be there. I mean, there's nothing worse than, again, I have to build a school for him, right? And we go there later on, and I do a walk around, and I got 15 empty classrooms at 10:30 a.m. That is not a cool thing, because as you know, you're a businessman. When you build something, every square foot better be making me money. If it's not making me money, I'm losing money, right? And you know that in the real estate.
And that's where the ways part is right there. Because this is not a business. It is not for profit. It's for human development. That's a whole different ballgame.
I can see that, but at the same time,
I know you got to balance the book.
right.
And I understand the tension in that, but I've got to be really emphatic about that because I'm looking at an inventory of facilities that technically meet standards and they're garbage.
See,
Old, out of state And so we got to do better because we're trying to build a school that when 30 years from now, it's going to have enough flexibility into it because what we teach, how we teach it, where we teach it is going to change probably 2 or 3 times during the life of that building, just while it's being financed. So there needs to be some flexibility. But yeah, if you're trying to cool too much air or way more than you need to, then you can cut the costs.
And at the same time, I understand that as of today, just total student body that this building can house is way more than 2,000. It's way more than 2,000. So do we really need that many classrooms? That I cannot answer. That's your expertise.
Well, DOE is looking at growth of students only in the northern area because here we are building a school, right? And DOE is closing down 1, 2, 3 schools, right?
Okay.
Where's the logic there? Well, it's all in distribution, right? My other thing, for a school that size is, if I'm a kid at Anderson, or even here at Camp Blas, and I'm going to get bused all the way down to Dodea, why would I do that when I got a school 5 minutes away?
Gotcha.
I'll go here.
Gotcha.
I mean, the only thing is, it's a public school, not a Dodea school, but I would hedge my bets that, number one, the school's new. You're going to have good teachers there because all the teachers want to work in a new school. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes.
So, I would pack up that school. That's the part in the back of my mind that's going to say they're going to load up that school.
Got it.
No different than Oakwood.
If they don't, we will.
Right.
Because we're going to end up having to rezone the high school.
I see.
Oakwood opened, remember? And
Yes.
as soon as they opened, they had to put a new wing, right, or something?
Yeah.
They were already side short. Yeah. So.
So we're going to basically recommend, and then some of the items, and I'm almost certain legislature will pass. And then, Joe, you can really work on the rider with Senator Chris. I think he will, he knows numbers, so I think he can accommodate. Because there's no damage, there's no impact on their budget.
I'm just thinking the politics of this, right? So if you have a contract for 166 and it builds the school that you need, because I think that's the big picture, get the school off the ground. Because I've been watching this for 15 years, right?
Yeah.
We just need that.
I will not be able to leave the island unless
Yes,
it's under control.
Dr. Swanson, this would be like the biggest send off for you. But what I'm thinking is the legislature. You just know 15 people how they think, right?
We just need 8.
I was just going to say 8.
they need a reason why. Why are we going to do this if you already got the school going? And so we need to have the reason why, and it probably needs to come from DOD.
The more the landlord spend money, the Simon Sanchez stakeholders will benefit.
Yeah. So
On the other hand, though, the other course would be, well, if we spend less, then our debt service every year is less.
Very true. Very true.
So
but they
those are
already
all the things
approved
that are gonna
$16.3 million. So in their mindset, the exposure already kept in their mind. Do you really want to trim down? Do you really want to remove or downsize the auditorium?
What does that tell the students? PR-wise, it's not good, right? It's not good PR-wise.
Yeah.
So we've already budgeted for and in all our meetings, you remember, right? It's like we go into Cars Plus. We go to Joey Crisosimo. Joey, I got $1,000 that I can spend every month. What kind of car can you get?
Exactly.
What kind of car can you give me, right?
10 grand, 20 grand, doesn't matter. I don't care.
I don't care. Yeah. He can give me a Kia or he can give me a Ram truck.
Yes.
With $1,000 a month. That's my...
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, that amount, $16.3 million, we're not touching it. Even though that number was established about 12, 13 years ago. So, what do you want?
That's true. Yeah, that's a
That's a 12-year-old number?
Already. It's a silly number. It's an old number. Yeah. So, to make it fast, we will consider basically part 1, base contract, and then additional items or optional items. And if legislature's blessing to remove the necessary cap, all these things will be put back into the contract, the changeover.
That's the only scenario I think possible if you want to move this forward, because like I told you earlier, it might not be the school you want to build, but it's the school, right?
You're going to get 90% of the school.
Plus.
Yeah,
90
Plus.
plus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, you're going to get, versus double sessions, versus the original school, versus other GW. This is going to be heaven,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's going to be heaven.
It's going to be heaven.
And
It's going to be heaven and paradise.
Because it's
And he's not going to stick his name on that.
Of course, I'll be here.
No, I've got to rely on you guys to understand the reality of what's gonna pass legally and the procurement rules. And so, okay, we stay inside those lines. That means I stay out of jail.
Yeah. That's my only thing is when we go to the legislature, and again, those other two propose, they don't have a reason to propose anymore.
Yeah, correct.
Protest.
Protest.
Right?
Yeah.
We're done.
No,
The procurement's
absolutely.
already done. We
Yeah.
chose you.
Yeah.
Unless we don't come to an agreement, then I go to number 2, right? Yeah. But that doesn't preclude them from going straight to court.
No problem.
You know,
problem.
and issuing an injunction.
Our argument, AG. We have a pretty strong legal team. I don't even know how many attorneys that I
How
have.
many lawyers do I have?
Oh my God! Yesterday on the call, it actually started. I think it started at 10 o'clock. It went all the way to 11:30. I think at least 7 or 8 attorneys on the call. Yeah.
Well, I come from a family. I'm not an attorney, but I come from a family. But I always tease everybody. If you ask an attorney what color is the sky, they'll give you 15 different answers. Sky blue, dark blue, light blue, medium blue, teal blue.
Yeah, I've gotten to that point. It's like,
Just
no,
whatever
don't
you
ask
want,
me.
they'll write it.
That's right. That's right. So, we will do our best, and we will recommend on behalf of you, not as a contractor, as an end user. We'll come up with a certain framework, and then we can start with it as a basic contract, and then if everything goes well, we know exactly what item, what scope, and how much will be added into the project. And that's the fastest that we can move.
So you're looking, so I'm same here, right? I need you to get the equipment there as soon as possible,
Yes.
right? When do you folks look, assuming we convinced Gita, or we got the go ahead from Gita and our legal counsels to say, I think you're right. Gita can't do the issue on this. How soon can you go to market? Well, you need the
I'm
building
not going to
permit.
go to market. I'm not going to go to market. I'm going to use my money. I'm going to start the project. I'm not going to go to market until we get the building permit done.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So 6 months. I'm not going to wait 6 months. That's the difference between other developers. They will never move, not even one step.
If we sign a contract in August, can you tear that building down the next day?
Yes,
Start
yes,
demolition?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Assuming EPA.
That's a prerequisite.
You can start.
Yes, right
I
away.
think that's important.
Yeah,
Right
I know,
away.
I know they can. Yeah.
Right away. We have really, the buses and heavy equipment. I think 560 pieces.
Yeah. Where would you dispose of that building?
Okay. First of all,
Just throwing stuff out. Yeah.
concrete. You cannot. Okay, let's say concrete. You demolish it. You need to chop down the concrete. You have to separate the rebar from the concrete.
Right.
We have a machine. I don't think anybody has a machine involved.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where's it at?
It's in Ukudo.
Okay.
Yeah. We have 252 acres.
Yeah.
So we do have a mountain of soils.
Yeah.
So we chop and separate it. There's a separate magnetic separator. So we
You know,
separate it.
I'm just thinking out crazily, right? That would be a great. What's that? Field trip
Yes.
for Simon Sanchez students to go and watch
Yes.
their school.
Grind up the school.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know. You could put them on a hill or something. This is your school being destroyed. I'm just throwing it out.
Yes, we can do that.
Kids. I don't know, even myself. Everybody likes things. Seeing not that.
If you see,
Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah.
Long time ago, when I was doing Harmon soccer field, it's 72 acres. we're doing Route 16. No, Route 16 and Route 27, Honolulu Road, across from Coastal Lesson. We were doing the civil job. And then, I think St. John wanted to, experience their kids with the heavy equipment. I had many heavy equipment. Big payloader, compactor, John Deere's, all those things. We went through the process.
They lost their mind, huh?
They like it. They really enjoy it. The kids.
I bet you they paid attention. You could give them a test afterwards.
Holding the wheels.
And they will. Yeah.
So
okay, so you we have a meeting tomorrow. Yeah. So we will gather all this up.
Okay.
Talk to everybody as well, and see where we are. I think the two or three big issues on the tables is the construction cap, right?
Yes.
On the Makahat Act.
I think that's important.
That's number one. Number two is the financing, right?
Yes.
And I think the number three, which really I'm sure should please all of us, so you can start tomorrow.
Yes, I'm ready. I just need a building permit from you.
Yeah. I just saw something, not sure if it was in the news or whatever, that I think even the local EPA. Where did I see? I saw somewhere. They're looking like they might just get axed tomorrow.
Yeah.
President Trump.
Yes. I'm concerned about that. Yeah. Unless the Navy will accept as is that we don't have to get a clearance from them. Just so you know, the Navy project, they give us 180 days to get a general contractor's permit. And usually it takes about 9 months, 10 months, 11 months.
I'm pointing up the EPA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they don't have enough staff to do it. They
That's
just
true.
don't.
That's true.
They don't have enough.
Yeah.
I am concerned.
Yeah. I just between us girls here, I had a talk with the governor's present chief of staff. I said, part of the problem here is, because our projects are delayed as well. Our projects are small. We're tiny compared to you, right? But I said, I think you need to keep the directors on island because every time we need an answer, they're gone.
Yeah.
So you need to keep them on island so they, if I'm going to sign your permit like this, she better sign it as well.
Yes.
We can't, this has got to be a two-way street.
Yes.
Because everyone blames us for delays in the building permit. It's not us. You know who it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's agriculture, it's SHPO, it's EPA.
Sitting around on the temporary building today, and the guy was running down the list of all of the people that have to sign off on that.
Oh my.
Oh, see that?
Yeah. That's to build a temporary facility.
Oh my.
Yeah. Too much.
Director, do you think Mr. Ho should put also his financing proposal in writing too for?
I think so. I think we should see your position in writing.
Okay.
Because we have our position. Gita has their position, and Lester, right? He's
Lester has some. I think Lester doesn't want to lose his face, but I read their document. And then there is no commitment from the Gita to any presenter.
What do you mean?
Okay, what happened?
In this one?
Yeah. Oh, actually, it was not only for Simon Sanchez. It was for many, GWA, GPA, GIA, all those things. So all the investors, the underwriter present their capabilities. However, the package itself, it was non-binding. It was like almost RFI level, not contractual binding.
Yeah.
So I understand that our friend Lester might not be really happy, but there's no contractual obligation.
Right. And the act calls for it. From where I'm coming, I put it in my RFP.
Yes.
I asked for it.
Yes. And then even if, but the law says the contractor needs to provide the bonding. The financing. Shall.
Yeah.
So I don't know how we're gonna get away. We don't want to open a can of worms.
That's on our side.
Yeah,
we'll clean that up.
Thank you.
We'll clean that up.
Okay.
And if we need to get a couple lawyers involved, we'll get them involved, but make it real quick. I know the governor did not want to go back to the legislature for anything.
Correct.
Because she just wants to move forward. She wants to break ground before the end of this year.
Absolutely. No.
Yeah.
I don't care for financing. Trust me, because of building permit, we need to have drawing done. It's gonna take time. Trust me. The local company, even though we are using Remarketech owned by GHT, their production team is not gigantic. Really, they are not big crew. Even if they are, they have a lot of projects, right? So we cannot squeeze their neck too much. So it's better we start with our own money. Whatever we can do, clearing, grubbing, and then demolition. We don't need their touch. So as long as they just do the simple, application for the building permit with your blessing, we will start a project.
Yeah.
So we'll press everybody.
And it shows progress.
Yeah.
Shows progress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I can even actually ask, I don't like it, I can ask a GHT and New Architect to get just a permit set, not 100% or final. Design.
Oh.
15%, 30%, 60%, 90%, 100%, and final. As a contractor, we need a final, not even 100%, because you are going to also give us some comment. So even though we present 100%, it might not be final. But as long as I can check the box on the shell, then we can
You can
move.
still do something.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Then I can check the box for the bond investor. Hey, don't worry. There's no risk for the permit side. That's why.
And I think that to help sell the smaller classroom is you really just get in a big room and you line it out.
Yeah.
This is a 30 by 30, and now this is a 30 by 24. 26. Minimal.
Yeah.
They won't even know it's missing.
Yeah. They will not notice.
Yeah. For how much?
And
7
cleaning.
mil?
Cleaning.
And cleaning.
Aircon.
Aircon. Yeah. Power.
Yeah. The
Everything.
electric
has-
load also.
Everything has. So even if legislature bless us, I don't think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can use $7 million for other purpose, something related to Simon Sanchez or education related. We'll get you as a change order. I mean the what do you call that? Well, CapEx or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like a blank check. You can use that.
Yeah.
Well, I've always got places that need to be fixed.
Yes. Yes.
Whether it's at Simon Sanchez or anywhere
Yeah.
else. I mean, 7 mil is 7 mil.
7 mil is 7 mil. So technically, we're looking at possibly about $29 million delta. So $30 million, you can use it for other purpose.
Director, if I could make a suggestion.
Sure.
So on Monday, Mr. Ho, you
Yes.
said you're going to get us
Yes.
construction so
Yes.
to really visualize.
Yes.
Right? Could you also get us on the finance side and summarize the law that you're referencing?
Yes.
That as well as what you're thinking?
Yes.
Because I
Yeah.
think what the director needs
With
is...
the AI, I can do it fast.
Okay.
Be careful what it tells you.
I read. I'm not a legislature senator. I read.
Yeah, that's my new best friend. Yeah. I think that gives you what you need to
Yeah.
sit down with
To move
it.
this forward, yeah. Because even this, I need to take this to the governor.
Yes.
Something at this level.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, Gita, even if the law says that Gita can do that and contractor can do that, Morgan Stanley, they don't have a skin in the game in Guam.
Yeah.
They don't. They don't have to work hard. Who's gonna drive? Who's gonna really push? You think the Gita can push that much? I have a skin in the game.
Yeah. Who's gonna watch that invoice? Who's
have to
gonna watch that invoice when it comes in? Who's gonna squeeze that invoice?
I have to.
Yeah. Well, it serves you better.
It's everybody.
Because you're paying.
Yeah, we're paying. So we can demand.
Yeah.
So
And Barclays has been here before, and so you've seen their performance. You know what their rates are,
we know.
and you just tell Sean that's not happening, right?
we've been working together for a long time, so he
Yeah.
cannot.
Yeah.
He cannot.
Yeah. He's holding my other project.
Yes,
also.
Gariband.
Yeah.
Let's kiss him together.
Okay. I'm happy where we're at right now.
Thank you.
And again, we just wanted to get these high level issues
Yes.
out because I think on the other hand, I don't think we have nitty gritty
No,
stuff.
no,
we
no,
don't. Right?
No,
Yeah.
no, it's a waste. of
Let's just take care of the high level stuff. The kids will get a school that they're very proud of. The teachers and staff are going to get a school that they're real proud of. And I think if we do any changes, it's going to be negligible.
Yeah, it's negligible. We're going back to the standard. Yeah, it's not going to be limousine, but it will be a nice sedan.
Yeah, there might be a caveat, and because nobody can read the crystal ball. What if somewhere down the road, student population just spikes, right? Or DOE starts to move. What's the capacity for putting in a new wing?
Then we need to go back to the site map and make sure that we save something
for future expansion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, even if it's an additional 10, maybe 20 classrooms, just boom, add that.
It's like extra conduit in the ground and
something like that.
Yes.
Sewer lines,
That's
conduit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as the utility is easy, very easy. As long as we understand, we make sure the size is good enough from the beginning. I'm talking inland.
if you did extend it, you have enough volume.
Yeah.
As long as a site plan, we set aside a certain space, then shall be okay. That's important point. That's important.
Yeah, we know the school's got a generator, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Is there a water storage system? No.
Only in catchment, the catchment of the rainwater.
That's all.
That's all.
For gray water?
Gray water.
Yeah.
Probably the project also required a fire pump with the water tank. I need to go back to design, but that's the way I recall it. So that's not the domestic water. It's a fire pump with the fire propulsive tank.
Okay.
So I'll get you by Monday, basically value engineering, basic contract, and then list of potential change orders. So we can bring back. So I think we can get. I think legislature will be okay.
And we have, like I said, we have a meeting tomorrow. If we've got something new,
okay, just give me
or
a call.
something that agreed to, we'll call you. And, yeah.
My number is easy to remember. 486-5000.
And then, Mr. Ho, I think the finance piece too. We need something to talk about in black
Yes.
and white with the finance team.
Yeah.
If the attorney truly believe that it has to be done by Gita, I'm okay that I can work together, but I don't think that is the case at this moment. I don't want to fight. I don't want to waste anybody's time.
Yeah.
But is it really legal?
Yeah.
At this moment, it's we all read it, right?
Yeah.
Developer contractor is supposed to bring the financing
Yeah.
and municipal tax exempt bond.
I think part of it also would be is, if you provide. Well, no, it really doesn't matter
It
because
doesn't
we're
matter.
just paying you a lease.
Just paying the lease. Yeah, just 30 years of rent, and you're gonna own it.
Yeah.
And then we know
Some might say, well, what if you're able to go out there and get it at 4%, and your debt service is say 13 mil, right? Well, we're still paying you 16. Well, that's the lease.
logically that's possible, but we know the reality. The interest rate is about 6 to 6.3. That's the range, ups and downs, and 1% make a huge difference. So when we submit the bid based upon reality. And then I can assure you, no matter what, our price is the best among three bidders. And as I mentioned, one cannot even get a bond.
Yeah.
I'm talking a performance and payment bond. The two of them, and I'm 100% sure they didn't submit a performance guarantee form, which means they don't have basis from the beginning.
Okay.
Do you know the 4 northern schools that I end up building in?
Yeah.
Originally, I was building Ironwood Phase 1 to 3. So I was busy. So school, I was not in the picture. None of the contractors, including Smith Bridge and many, I think 6 or 7 contractors, they failed to get a bond.
For the schools.
for the schools.
Yeah.
Bonding company, all bonding company, they decline their bond. This is just not even performance guarantee bond.
Oh.
This is a construction performance and payment bond.
Yeah.
The insurance company, they decline every single bond, every single contractor. They only approve mine. So I end up building all 4 nodal schools
Ready or not.
because
Right.
of my
Yeah,
capability.
yeah.
So that's why we end up building everything. I was not in the picture from the beginning because busy with other projects. So I know the reality. So they're not responsive bidders, which means
I'm going to double and triple check that.
yeah. I heard from our
Yeah,
surety.
yeah.
This is confidential.
And just real quick, your debt service, you are extending it to the 30 years, the full
Yes,
30.
yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
30 years. I think the law is specific. The lease cannot be
Exceed.
longer than 30 years.
Yeah.
Correct.
But with your proposal here, you're at 30.
Yeah, 30.
Okay.
The lease term is 30 years. The payment is basically 2 years during the construction, as we know, and then 30 years. If they want to change, I'm talking about legislature, they can change.
Yeah.
So they can make even 25, 27, 30. I'm okay. But annual payment will increase accordingly.
Sure.
It doesn't
Yeah,
matter to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wanna meet all the laws, the 166, 8.5, and 16.3 million dollars. But is that wise? Because it doesn't matter to them. That service is exactly the same. Why do you care about $166 million cap? It doesn't make any sense. They just didn't.
The problem with going there, and again, if you, like you said, between the people in the room, if they're not even reading the laws,
don't.
what do they turn around and they get rid of that, but then they take the debt service and bring it down to 14 mil. Shit! I don't know if I want to take that risk, my friend.
Careful what you ask for.
Yeah, them are really in a pickle. Yeah, so that's we're gonna have to really do some, then I think that the logic would be, it's like you mentioned earlier, senators. This 16.3, this is a 5-year-old number, if not a 10-year-old number.
10 plus years.
And we're not moving on it.
10
And BBMR already said that's a good number.
extremely good number.
So
Extremely good number.
maybe we do have a better basis to just hold on. Because that's the key here,
Yes,
moving forward.
Yes.
You want to keep the 16.3.
Correct.
Everything else is fine.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay.
Call me anytime.
Are we good?
Yeah. No, I'm
Okay.
It's all making sense to me.
Yeah.
I just want to remind you, though, on another note, all of the projects that are on hold,
Yes.
I'm waiting for a response from USAID. I've asked them for $10 million back. As soon as I get it, I can give you permission to continue.
Thank you, sir. I have a question. Do you remember that, $60 million, change order for other 7 schools? Do you think that you can extend or no? I hope you do.
We're counting that in what we have to pay. The key to this all now is to pull together a pot of money, $25 million, that we can pay invoices, be reimbursed, cycle it back, do it again and again and again.
Yes.
And so in that pile
It's possible.
of money is the change order.
Okay. So technically, it may take a little time, but it's possible to bring 60 million. Actually, it was AG who dropped the ball on time, right? I mean, AG actually, yeah. I'm holding my tongue.
Man.
I don't talk to my 3rd floor.
You know how many projects would have been much. Oh boy.
We know the truth.
Because we're never going to get that ARP funding again. That is never coming back.
Yeah.
But we were able to make it. But still, the delays we got, just
Well, that
incredible.
this in terms of the work that we're doing, I know what they had planned for this month, and that's all been on hold. So that means that's going to get pushed into the school year, and it's going to be harder to do. But it looks like we're going to get all of the money released.
I see.
The key is how fast can we turn it over.
Timing is okay. I think I'm going to explain. Contractor basically has only one boss, which is our bonding company. Bonding company, basically, they give us billions of dollars of bond program. So, as long as they know that we are collecting in good cycle. By December 31st, I'm blessed. I can convince our bonding company, you don't have to worry about it. So I can wait. So as long as we kick in and the money is, rotating, then I'm good. So I do hope, because I hope that we can add 7 more schools.
Well, I don't know how to pull that rabbit out of the hat. But yeah, I'm interested in adding those other schools.
Thank you.
But I'm not pushing that agenda. What I want to do is complete the ones we started.
Yes. No, I have a capability. So since we're in the good direction, good mood, I think DO is happy with our job. So why don't we just move forward?
And how many $1 million is that?
but it's out of fund. I mean, the federal fund. So might as well just use it, if possible.
That's what we do with our roads.
I'm going to do as much of it as I can.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
But I just wanted you to know that I'm waiting. We already had one exchange with them. They wanted us to change the formatting so the numbers look different.
I see.
We sent that in yesterday.
Perfect.
The next thing I want to see is a $10 million deposit in my bank account.
Gotcha.
Okay, we're going.
Got it.
Then we.
When do you expect that they're gonna give you money back?
I should have an answer before the end of the week.
Oh, okay.
I should have the money middle of next week, and then what we'll do is immediately pay invoices, and some of them are for you.
Thank you.
And I got to get Northern back on track with FBLG because we owe them a bunch of money, and of course they're smaller, they don't have the flexibility.
Yeah, true.
So I need to get those 2 projects moving so that we can get everything to happen again.
Okay.
I know the gang you've got on this projects that we're doing, you want to be demobilizing and moving out by the end of January, end of December. But we might have to go after the first of the year to liquidate all of it.
Yeah. We'll go with the flow. We're too old to fight.
Yeah.
What about Simon Sanchez's temporary school? Are you going to really pull it together?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're looking to pull the trigger on that sucker. It's only
that's the
20 classrooms though, right?
Yeah, that's all we need because we're going to use FBLG.
Yeah, it's going to be built. Yeah,
it's going to be across the
as a
street.
matter of fact, we have that. I think we're doing that for you, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
in fact, I've got
it's a real simple thing. Yeah.
It's basically a container school.
Something like that.
Okay.
It could
semi-prefab.
Yeah.
Yeah, single slab.
20 classrooms, and we're going to use space in existing housing buildings for admin operations and special ed kind of things. That'll take care of it during the course of construction during the new school.
I see. Okay.
And then that'll go away.
Got it. So I'm just curious. The condition of the proposal after year 2, the use of the temporary classroom, who's gonna own those
That's
classrooms?
one of the things that's being worked out
Yes,
right now.
I'm curious. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
I thought we would pay for that outright, or that's still being worked. I didn't go to the meeting this morning.
Yeah, I missed you.
Yeah.
2 choices: rent or basically,
Pay for the
outright. Yeah.
FEMA's fronting 90% of the money, which is right at $18 million. And then they've located another 2 because I just said on the project we don't have the $2 million to start it.
I think the concept there is like a saipan.
I see.
That's where
What's it? Hopwood High? Yeah. I didn't see it, but I heard it.
Hopwood Middle School.
Yeah, the two wings, 10, some bathrooms in the middle,
It's
sidewalks, and
real
that's it.
simple.
Very simple.
Very simple. Actually, we submit the bid for Hawaii, Maui Island. And our price was much cheaper, but the other contractor got, because it was not by Hawaii, it was actually Texas, U.S. Army, right? So FEMA was very angry at them, and then they terminate U.S. Army Texas from the Maui recovery.
Really?
Yes, very. Because the Texas people didn't really know what's going on in Hawaii. We have a lot of projects in Hawaii, so So we're very familiar with temporary school project.
Well,
Okay. Yeah, but so that's the concept. How would I?
Very simple. Yeah.
Very simple.
Twice.
Basic.
and
You
that's-
build the whole thing, the wing, then you go in and you just make 750 square foot
Yes.
classrooms.
Yes.
All you do,
Yes.
and one air conditioner per, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very simple, very, and it's right across FBLG, right?
Yep.
I still have to drive up there and figure out where it is. I don't know.
Sakura Simon, not the
Right across. Okay.
That's, yeah, it's,
A little bit of clearing, grading. Yeah. I
that's-
think the key there, at least our engineer Albert, says the utilities,
Available.
water, sewer, and power,
It's all there.
not available.
They found it.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's got to verify the capacity, but it said, yeah, they do got it.
Good. Good. Good.
Yeah, they even found the outlet for stormwater. So,
Okay.
and looking at what happened in Texas this week, that's real important.
Floods, right?
Oh,
yeah.
man. Well,
Thank you.
Okay, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
for your
Yeah.
time.
Great. Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doc. Appreciate it.
thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's enough of it today.
What's that?
That's enough today.
Yeah,
Been at it since
yeah.
4
My
this
brain is
morning.
still alive. I hope it was okay meeting late in the afternoon, but I had something this morning. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
We're good. I'll call you. Okay, we are good. Whew. Are you good? Where'd you park? In the front or in the back?
I'm fine.
Okay, okay.
Is there a restroom in here?
Yeah. You can use this restroom in. Yeah. Leave your stuff.
So you heard all that. That was a lot. There's quite a bit to unpack there, but I think the starting point in that entire thing was at the very beginning, from minute 2 of the very first meeting on the negotiations. The team knew that the Cortec price was well above the statutory cap. And rather than ending negotiations there and declaring the Cortec proposal as non-responsive, they decided that their wisdom was greater than the legislature's, so much so that they were making fun of senators and discussing openly in a plan, some might say a conspiracy, to finagle senators into changing the law and changing the statutory finance cap, discussing the annual debt service as though $16.3 million per year is what had to be paid. And you couldn't go below that if you had a much lower costing school, that over the 30-year amortization would cost less than $16 million. But they were stuck to the $16 million. You heard the governor's directors agreeing every step of the way with this plan, or whatever you want to call it, whatever it might legally be called in case there are any investigations. And you're going to hear more. This was meeting 1. There were 6 meetings. There are only recordings for 5 meetings. So we're going to play on Kandit the other 4 meetings. We're going to take this one at a time. But prior to us getting there, the governor has we put out our question to senators. And by the way, in case you didn't hear my lead into this, I did send questions to all senators about whether they had any discussions with Ho Yun, anyone at Cortec, any Cortec's employees, any Cortec's emissaries, any Cortec affiliated companies, any Cortec consultants, about the Simon Sanchez procurement ever since June of last year when the selection happened, and especially about the financing cap. And all 11 of the ones who replied to my questions responded in some form or fashion that they unequivocally have not had any discussions with any of those people about Simon Sanchez procurement, and especially about the financing cap. There were 4 senators who did not reply. They include Senator Joe San Augustine, Senator Tina Munya Barnes, Senator Shelley Calvo, and Senator Sean Gumatauto. And the reason that discussions on what senators knew or didn't know about this whole thing that transpired last summer is that the governor, after I sending that email, within a couple of hours, the governor sent a letter to the senators throwing them into special session tomorrow at 9 a.m. to discuss the bill introduced by Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio, which would short circuit the procurement process and essentially allow Cortec to start with this project, which would bind the government of Guam to whatever agreement that negotiating team struck with Cortec, an agreement that is not public because it's the protests happen, then the appeals happen or whatever. But you're looking at, if it's $16.3 million per year for, and it's not 30, it sounds like, according to that meeting, it's 32 years. You're looking at $500 million in all-in costs. Will be the most expensive school by far that the government of Guam has ever built. And it also sounds like, according to that first meeting of negotiations, it won't even be the school that was designed. And they will have taken axes to certain things like the size of classrooms, the hallways, the size of the height of the ceilings. I mean, so many different, and you heard these people talking so nonchalantly about whittling down the design and so that it fits within a certain whatever, because as you heard what they said, the bottom line is it's the profit. That was said there. I don't know whether these people were aware that the meeting was being recorded. There was a couple of points where Ho Yun said that I'm going to share this with you. It's highly confidential. He talked about his business dealings, dealing with the Dusitani hotel that he owns, and so it doesn't sound like he was aware that this meeting was being recorded. And if he was aware that he forgot in those moments, I don't know. I have to imagine that the governor's directors knew that the meeting was being recorded because the recording was on the government side. This was something by law. Anyway, we are going to cover. So first of all, every Monday through Fridays, the Monday news analysis at 8 a.m. We also have, the morning news analysis at 8 a.m. On Sundays, we also have the morning news analysis, but it's not at 8 a.m. on the dot. Every evening was the evening show from Sunday through Friday at 7:30 p.m. on the dot is the evening show on Kandit. Simulcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube all at the same time. Tomorrow morning's morning news analysis, which would be called the Tuesday news analysis, I will be disclosing a letter from Council of GPS to Guam senators about the problems that they believe this bill that the lieutenant governor has introduced poses for government, for conscience, for equity, for you name it, right? And you watch, or you heard the last hour and a half of that meeting one negotiation, and you come up with your opinions on it. So we will discuss that, and of course other things in the Tuesday news analysis, which will begin on the dot at 8 a.m. tomorrow, Tuesday, May 19, 2026. And then the evening show will bring you meeting 2, and we'll go through that together. For Kandit News, I am Troy Torres. You all have a beautiful evening. God bless you. Good night. See you tomorrow morning.